What is up, everyone? It says that we are live. I'm going to have to do what I always do and take its word for it. Welcome back to another family education and support group. Sorry, I'm trying to set up my computer monitor. I'm a little distracted. Okay, we're here. Welcome back, everyone. Really grateful for another opportunity to have a talk with you here today. It is Saturday, May 24th of 2025. So if you're watching this at 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you're watching this live. And if you happen to watch this at another time, however that may be, wherever that may be, my hope is that you find some value from today's conversation and today's talk. So my name is Param. I am the host of this talk. We do it frequently. We'll call it, I used to say weekly, but we'll just say frequently. And it's something that we've been doing since April of 2020. So we all know what happened that year. We had to shut down the world, and I didn't want to shut down the talks that I always did in person. So we went on YouTube and we started to do these talks. So if you go back to our Buckeye Recovery Network YouTube and look on our live videos, you will see somewhere along the lines of 4 or 5 years of videos recorded. And you'll see me in various forms of self. You'll see me light skin, dark skin, short hair, long hair, buzzed hair, ponytail hair, beard, no beard, black hair, white hair. You'll see all of it. And so hopefully that you're here. And so why do we do this talk, by the way? It's for anyone who firsthand or secondhand has ever experienced any type of pain as a result of addictions, mental illness, trauma, or grief and loss. So firsthand or secondhand, that means pretty much everybody. I do believe that these talks are valuable for anyone that lives and breathes. And my hope is that you find some value here for you. And good morning, Mom and Dad. Good morning, my friend Terry. And I'm glad you enjoy the message. And hopefully today's message will be in line with another one that you enjoy. So really quickly about, next week I'm going to do a talk that's going to capture more of Memorial Day because, it hasn't happened yet. Oh, CJ in the house. I gave a special shout out to CJ. What's up, CJ? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well and happy to see you on the Param Show. This is a brand new talk that you have not ever seen, CJ. CJ is a super fan. She's watched every one of my talks and knows more about my talks than I do myself. But this one is one you've never seen or heard, and I look forward to doing it with the people. So we'll talk about Memorial Day more on next Saturday. Well, the next time I talk, I'll talk about it. But just in case anyone here is watching, that you may have a family member that has been a part of, the military, different branches, in case you've ever lost anyone through that process, grandparents that might have fought in World War II, anyone that fought in Vietnam, Korea. I mean, I'm a product of a war. It was a different kind of war. So I'm not going to say that I'm a pro-war type of person, but I'm a pro-human type of person. And I don't believe that casualties or losses are any difference between human beings. So if you had someone fight in a war and unfortunately give the ultimate sacrifice, which is, giving their life for something that they truly believe in, a cause that they believe in, I want you to know that, stand with you in this day of remembrance. And there actually are a lot of parallels between Memorial Day and recovery, believe it or not. Things like perseverance, things like resiliency, things like sacrifice, things like courage. I mean, these are all things that we could talk about at infinitum when it comes to the parallels. But long story short, Memorial Day is a day of remembrance for you and your family. I hope that it goes well. Enjoy the long weekend and, tap into the gratitude of what we have rather than what we don't have is usually the key to success. So all that being said, today, Memorial Day is also like the official kickoff of the summer, right? I mean, the summer actually starts on June 21st, if you want to get technical with it. That's when the summer solstice happens. But Memorial Day, that kind of like the people going out, barbecuing, this, that, it's like the official launch of summer. So today I want to talk about why summer mirrors recovery. Okay? Because summer is all about, it's more than about like sunshine and vacations. It's about exposure. It's about heat. It's about transformation. And I think the recovery process is about the same things. You have to expose what it is that's been covered. You have to deal with the initial heat of the emotions and the psychology and like the pressure of it all. And you have to transform. You have to go from one state of being to another state of being. So what we're going to do is go over 9 different characteristics on why I believe that the summer and recovery are very, parallel. What's up, Jim? Roxanne, Jim, Stacy. Man, we got a good amount of people here. Good job. So number one, it says, I'm going to put it up. It says the heat equals growth under pressure. So the summer heat can be intense. We all know that. And based on where you live, I mean, California, it gets hot. Don't get me wrong. We'll get up there to like 100, 102 degrees. I mean, if you're like in the desert, some parts of like Palm Springs, Arizona, Palm Springs, California, but Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, it gets like 120 degrees out there. And if you're in the South, I just came back from Florida and about 10 a.m., the humidity was so much I could barely breathe. And it was also hot. So it gets really, summer is known for like the heat. It's intense. Well, recovery is also. So whether you're recovering from something that's, like I said, firsthand, secondhand, you're recovering from something, the heat that's related to the emotions, the psychology, the physical part of the recovery process, it's all pretty intense. So they really require us to slow down, get like protection from the elements, get hydrated, and take things slowly when it gets really hot. You don't want to overdo. You don't want to overheat. You want to make sure that you're taking things at pace, because if you overheat or you get, sun poisoned in reality, or your body just goes on overdrive, it's not only you're going to not accomplish your goals, you're actually going to delay and postpone your goals because you're going to need additional time to recover from that, right? So it's really important to kind of know and understand the elements. Now, the next one we have here is longer days equals more light. So summer stretches, I think summer, by the time June comes around, the sunset out here, I know everywhere's different. Out here, the sunset's going to be around like 8:05 p.m., something like that, right? So all that daylight. Well, recovery is the same way, because the opposite of recovery, which is like disconnection, which is isolation, which is doing things under the table, which is like darkness, is very similar to things like winter, right? People that are towards the end of their drinking and using, or people that are really going through some significant mental health challenges, they're not out and about connected in the light. They're completely disconnected. They're completely in the shadows. And hey, nothing grows in the dark. So if you're trying to grow and transform, if you're trying to heal, then the light is needed. In summer, with the extended light, it's kind of a parallel to our recovery, with shining more light on us, on our life, on our journey. And sometimes when you shine the light, you might not like what you see, but you got to shine the light. Because if you just avoid it and act like it's not there and don't shine the light on it, it's still there, right? So, even if what you see is uncomfortable, remember that. Even if what you feel is uncomfortable, it's important, vital, critical, crucial, whatever word you want to use, to be able to shine the light on it and use the light to be able to expose the darkness, the creaks, the crevices, all that kind of stuff like that. And so that's another similarity we have between the summer season and recovery. Now it's getting a little bit more juicy. Number 3 says vacation does not equal escape. So we all know, we watch, summer vacation movies, or we remember being a kid and getting in a car and going on a little road trip. Or people always try to plan their summer vacations. Well, they're not supposed to be escapes. When you go on a real vacation, it's to go, yes, get distance, separation, get a head change, perspective change, de-stress, with the intention of what? To going back to life. Like it's like an intentional move to go back to life, to feel recharged, invigorated, rejuvenated. But if you just go for an escape and come back, I mean, everything's going to be there. So this morning I gave this talk to our program participants. Yes, they love hearing me talk at 8:30 in the morning about this kind of stuff. And if they don't, it's okay. I love talking about this kind of stuff. At least someone does. But I told them, hey, you're like in sober living and you're in rehab and you're in treatment right now. Some of you are treating this like an escape. It's not a freaking vacation. See, the reason why people go to the restaurant is to do what? To eat. The reason why people go to the coffee shop is to what? To get caffeinated. The reason people go to the malls, the retail stores, is to what? To buy some clothes. The reason people go to the gym is to work out. The reason people go to sober livings and treatment is to figure out why the heck they are there and what is going on in their life and what they need to do when they get out to be able to have a successful life. It's not to escape. I don't go hide in a restaurant and leave without eating food and walk back and say, I'm hungry. Who does that? People go to sober living and they hide. They don't do anything. They come out and say, my life is not better. No shit. So vacation does not equal escape. We've got some comments here. Declutter. I like to declutter. You know, I'm a decluttering kind of guy. Let's give a shout out to Jim, by the way. So, yeah, actually, by next week, today, it is what? It is. Oh, yeah, it is. So, my friends, let me tell you about Jim. Sorry, Jim, I'm deviating from the plan. So, Jim, the one that I have his picture up right here, Jim Chan. On the 28th of May, we are doing a farewell party, a goodbye party. We'll call it a retirement party, you know, for Jim. And it's 10 years of service to the Buckeye Recovery Network family. And more than that, you know, 20 plus years of service to the recovery community, Alcoholics Anonymous, and everything that comes with that. But on my note, at least the 10 years is talk about a human demonstration, like a human modeling of what recovery is, what people are capable of in recovery that they have no idea they're capable of. That you can get recovery no matter what age you are, or what state of health you are. And I mean, just the consistency that this human's demonstrated in the past 10 years I've known him is unparalleled, actually. I haven't met one person like it in all my years. And just suiting up and showing up and doing the next right thing and helping out so many people. I mean, I'm ready for this. And for those of you that might be watching this working in treatment, you're going to understand this, how rare this next statement is. In 10 years of running groups, and these groups are always changing, you know, 8 to 10 people in them, sometimes 6 people, sometimes 5, sometimes 11. Let's just call it 8 people average. Not one person ever came down to my office to say, I don't like this counselor, I don't like this group, I'm not getting anything out of it. Not one time. I mean, there's always like someone that's just like, you tell them what's your favorite color, they say blue, you give them something blue and say, I hate blue. There's always one of those people, but not one person ever came down to complain. And that's just a testament to the consistency of this human. So Jim, formally on this talk, at least, because you've been here for forever, and I hope when you move to Nevada, I hope that you still pop in and watch these sometimes. So, yeah, man, congratulations on retirement. Well, we don't, you know, we're not there yet, but congratulations on retirement. The next one that we have here is the waves keep coming. So what does this mean? Well, if you're in recovery, cravings, your emotions, self-doubt, it's all going to creep in. All of it. It creeps in. Just because you start the process of recovery doesn't mean it's all going to go away. You will all of a sudden look at some glass of spritz that looks good and say, oh my gosh, I want a sip of that. You will see 2 people in a relationship that look happy and say, oh, I need to get back with my ex. You will see someone that's driving a nice car and say, I got to quit my job and find a nicer car. And these obsessions and these things happen. However, in the summer, we associate summer with the beach, the ocean. The waves keep coming. The waves keep coming. So you have to learn how to ride the rhythm of life and how to ride the flow of cravings, because they're going to come. We're all humans, but just know that they last for like 15 minutes. How are you going to get distracted? Because the more you resist something, the more it's going to persist. But the more you accept something, the more it kind of like flows by. So please don't ever resist these things called urges, cravings, self-doubt, like all this kind of stuff. You got to accept them and you got to work through them. I got a couple comments here. Like, oh, life always shows up. It's what we do those times that define us. Yep. Life keeps showing up, man. It's like sometimes people think life just gets better and better and better. You can choose to have a perspective that views life as better, as better, as better. But in the midst of all that, better is better is better is better, there's bad shit happening, right? Like there's bad stuff happening to self, to others, to the world, to family members, there's bad stuff happening. But despite of that, I can still say life keeps getting better and better and better, because it's a matter of perspective and how I deal with stuff when it comes up, right? The next one, I like this one a lot. I think this metaphor is the best one. sunburn equals ignored boundaries. So I'm a big believer, especially in this country, that we have the freedom of choice. We have the freedom to choose whatever it is that we want to do in life. So if I choose to get up and go outside in the blaring sun, I'm talking about like 105-degree sun that's just blasting on my body, on my shoulders, on my face, on my neck, on my back, and I choose to stay there for 5 to 10 hours, okay? And I come home and all of a sudden I'm going to feel really, really, really bad. I'm going to start to feel burnt. I'm going to start to feel sun poison. I might even throw up. I'm red all over. And the next day there's these blisters, big blisters on my shoulders, on my back. See, because there's one thing with freedom of choice that is not talked about enough. Even though we're free to choose whatever it is that we want to do in life, we are not free from the consequences of those choices, right? So I'm not free of the consequences of being exposed to the sun for 10 hours with no sunblock. So sunburn is like ignored boundaries. You're free to drink whatever you want to drink in life, but you're not free of the consequences of those choices. You're free to be with whoever you want to be in life, even if it's a toxic person, an abusive person, but you're not free of the consequences of those choices. I'm free to go eat 14 pizzas right now, but I'm not free of the pain and agony that's going to come after. So boundaries is like the sunblock of life, especially when it comes to environmental exposures and threats that really, really can negatively impact us, like people, places, and things. See, when someone tells me that so-and-so screwed them over, I say, well, you know what? What did you do? How did you go about it? This and that, blah, blah, blah. Tell me about them. And then they tell me so-and-so screwed them over again, same person, again and again and again and again. At some point, you start telling them, well, hey, at this point, it's not even about you. It's not even about them anymore. It's about you. Why do you allow yourself for them to screw you over? Where's your sunscreen? Where's your sunblock? Where are your boundaries? So recovery really, really, really requires us to have those boundaries in place. What did Melly say here? I'm trying hard to fight them. Got some sun today. Good. Anytime you get sun, make sure you get a little bit of a sunblock. So anytime you get those cravings, make sure you got those boundaries. Make sure you got those coping skills. You know, call somebody. Write something like this. You know, reach out. Get in the sunlight. So good stuff. I'm happy to hear that. And I could sense that smile is real, even though it's like an emoji and you don't really know. But that one seems like you're proud of yourself for fighting the urges. The next one that we have here is fireworks are fun, but temporary. So again, playing on the whole summer theme of things. 4th of July is eventually going to come up. And I mean, we know it's a freedom day. We go to places like parks and beaches and hillsides and the city or people just blowing up things. And you look at them and it's a representation of independence. It's just aesthetically appealing. It's a time that everyone gets together. We put it with food and this and that. Well, here's the thing. Quick highs, instant gratification, all that kind of stuff is really exciting and appealing. It's like fireworks. But in recovery, we really got to watch it. Recovery teaches us to build steady joy, not chase explosions. I like that. You know, there will be things that you might sense and feel that, oh my God, that looks so good. That sounds so good. I want it now. But just remember, some of those things are very, very temporary, but you're going to be stuck with those permanent emotions. You know, in my talk, I teach college classes, by the way. And one of the classes I taught, we were just talking about people not ever being content with what they have and people always wanting something they don't have. And the grass is always greener on the other side conversation. Well, the takeaway from that class was that I told the kids to say, be really, really careful of that grass on the other side. Because if you get close enough, you might realize that it's actually artificial turf. Artificial turf. You look at it, it looks so green and appealing, but you walk up, you're like, what the hell is this? It's fake. Fake grass. You know, and that's our society kind of unfortunately has led a lot of people to believe that when you compare your insides to other people's outsides, you're going to feel small and inadequate. You know, people look up to various individuals, right? They might look up to movie stars, musicians, writers, athletes, politicians. And you look and say, wow, man, they got it all together. Their lives are so good. Not knowing that the movie star, the actor, the actress, oftentimes has a really hard time watching themselves on screen because they feel like they're not good. Sometimes a musician can't listen to their own music because they feel like they're not good at what they do. The writer can't read their own writing because they feel like they're not writing well. The athlete feels like no matter what they do, they're not going to be as good as enough as the other athlete. You know, the politician, you know, they all got their own issues. So we compare our lives with their lives, thinking that their lives are so much better. But all of them have the issues. See, their grass looks green, but oftentimes it's artificial because from their perspective, someone else's grass is looking green. So always remember, if you water your own grass, it gets just as green. Water it, my friends. Yep, this too shall pass, good or bad. You know, I always say, if you're having a good day, enjoy it. Enjoy the hell out of it. But this too shall pass. And if you're having a good day, just hold tight. This too shall pass. See, it really doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Right there, Jim just wrote it. This too shall pass. Be patient. But I do say that when you're having good days, though, enjoy them. Enjoy the moment, you know, because we don't know the order of these. You don't get one good, one bad, one good, one bad. You might get one good and 27 bad. You might get 2 bad and 5 good. The order is completely random sometimes. But make sure that you celebrate and enjoy the good ones. You know, make sure you pause at least and reflect and really cherish and nurture the good ones. The next one we have here is something called hydration. Where's it at? So, hydration equals staying nourished. Just like your body needs water in the heat, your recovery needs emotional, spiritual hydration. How about that? So, when it gets really hot, your emotions are going to get tested. When your emotions get tested, well, what are you going to do? So in reality, if I get overheat, I go drink some water. It's like cooling. It gets my system and my body working well. It gets my brain working well. It takes the fog away. When I deal with my emotions and they're hot, I need to talk about it, man. I need to process it. I need to work through it. I need to get into action, right? Don't just try to think your way out of this stuff. Move a little bit. Your body will move. Your mind will move. You'll feel different. And also your spiritual side, you know, and it's, what do you do that feeds the soul, the self? What do you do for that? Because if you don't nourish that, you're going to walk around this world feeling like, I always call it like a human doing, you know, not a human being. So very important to look at that. Just 2 more here. We're almost through it. Number 1, barbecues and gatherings equals triggers and temptations. So summer can be filled with social events, many of which revolve around old habits. You can still show up, but with intention, support, and a plan. So I'm actually known for this, and I got my parents on here watching this, so they could probably vouch for it. At least in the last 15 years or so, you know. I'm usually the first person to ever go to a gathering, typically, especially if it's a big one. I show up early. And if at the hostess house, and I go talk to them and I say, hey, you know, thank you for having us, blah, 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 all that stuff. And usually I'm the first one to go home. And I usually do an Irish goodbye. I just kind of like, I don't say bye to anybody. I just leave. And here's the thing. The next day when the host is thinking about the party they threw, the people that came over, the gathering they had, they're always going to remember the first person that showed up. They're always going to remember all the questions that you asked about them and their lives and, you know, how they're doing and all that kind of stuff. So in that way, I get a chance to show up with intention to support others and have a plan to go home. So summer is going to be full of this stuff, you know, especially if you're early in recovery. Don't just show up to a party, you know. Don't just show up to a place that people are telling you be wary of going to. Don't just show up to like a bar, you know. If there's a reason why you're there, go there. But you better have some support and a plan and a fire plan, backup plan, just in case the corona starts to look really, really good because the precipitation is coming down the side because it's a cold one and the sun is shining right. So that's okay. And the very last one that I have here is summer ends, but the work continues. So seasons shift. Your healing isn't just done in a 3-month period, my friends. Summer goes away. Then the fall comes, which has its own characteristics, and the winter comes. But, there's a saying we say in academia, and that saying is this: real education begins after formal education ends. So you go through life and you get your little education, whatever that is, counseling, bachelor's, master's, doctor, whatever it is, you get it there. So it's officially over. Now actual learning begins when that's over, because the practical application of everything is where the rubber hits the road. So if you're in recovery and, for 30 days, 90 days, whatever you do your recovery thing, and you think you're good, I'm telling you this: all the tools and skills that you picked up and learned in recovery, if you don't practically apply them to your life when you're out, it will not work out. Impossible. So the real work is going to begin for many of you when you are out there on your own doing this stuff. So, oh man, that was a good little talk. So all that being said, I missed you guys last week. It's pickleball season, so we're a lot of tournaments right now going on. Doing my best to accommodate, but I just wanted to pop on here today and really talk about summer. And we started the talking about Memorial Day. If you missed it, I know many of you might have family members that have, done the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives for the betterment of others, or for their internal beliefs that they are creating a world in which their loved ones can be safe. So that's always honorable. Loss of a human life is the loss of a human life, whether you are pro-war, against war, or somewhere in between. That Memorial Day isn't about that, right? It's just about family members that might be grieving. It's about people that might have not been able to live out their full life, and experience all the things they could have experienced. And it's about gratitude for those who still are around us. So be that as it may, I love and appreciate all of you. I will see you back here soon. Take care, everyone.